You've been told George Washington was a simple hero of American freedom. But what if he was a key player in a secret society controlling the birth of the nation? Hidden symbols on the dollar bill and in the Capitol's architecture reveal a coded language designed to conceal a deeper truth. Washington's military decisions and presidency were not just acts of leadership. They were part of a covert plan shaped by ancient, powerful orders. Missing documents and censored writings hint at a conspiracy buried beneath centuries of patriotic myth. Some whisper Washington possessed forbidden knowledge, perhaps even linked to extraterrestrial secrets. This secret society's influence never ended. It continues to shape America's politics, economy, and culture today. The truth is far more complex and darker than history books admit. What if everything you thought you knew about America's founding is only the surface? Stay with us and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You've been told that George Washington was a straightforward, honorable man, the father of the nation, a hero who led the colonies to freedom, a symbol of American virtue. But what if everything you know about Washington is a carefully crafted illusion? What if behind the polished portraits and heroic legends lies a hidden truth so vast and so controlled that no official history book dares to mention it? For centuries, an exclusive sacred society, one that not only influenced Washington but controlled his very legacy, has operated in the shadows, manipulating the birth of the United States itself. This society's origins trace back to ancient orders older than the American Revolution, rooted in symbols, secret rituals, and power networks stretching across continents and centuries. Their goal? To mold America not as a true democracy, but as a grand experiment in social engineering, controlled from the highest invisible echelons. What you're about to hear is not speculation or fantasy. It comes from recently unearthed documents, hidden correspondences, and declassified intelligence files that reveal Washington was not just a general or president, but a pawn and a key player in a global game of influence. This secret society's reach extended into the very foundations of America's institutions, shaping the Constitution, the currency, and even the mysterious symbols etched into the dollar bill. You were never meant to learn this because knowledge is power, and this power has been jealously guarded by those who benefit from maintaining the myth. Prepare yourself to dive into a world of hidden meetings, coded messages in founding documents, and a web of influence that spans from secret lodges in colonial America to modern-day corridors of power. The face of Washington you thought you knew was only the surface. Underneath lies a legacy they've fought to keep locked away. Stay with me, because we have only just begun to unravel the greatest conspiracy in American history. The origins of this clandestine society stretch far beyond the Revolutionary War, weaving through the fabric of European secret orders that predate America itself. Long before Washington ever set foot on American soil, elite groups such as the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and other shadowy fraternities wielded influence across monarchies, religious institutions, and emerging democracies. These groups thrived on esoteric knowledge, ancient symbols, numerology, secret handshakes, and coded language that served as both a shield and a weapon. Their members were often powerful men in positions of authority, bound not only by oaths, but by a shared vision of controlling political destiny. When European settlers crossed the Atlantic, they carried these secret traditions with them. By the mid-18th century, these societies had entrenched themselves in the American colonies, operating through lodges that masked their true intentions under the guise of fraternal brotherhoods. George Washington himself was a prominent Freemason, a fact often celebrated superficially but rarely examined in depth. His Masonic affiliations were not mere social memberships. They were gateways into a hidden network that connected colonial leaders to a broader plan for shaping the New World. What has only recently come to light through decrypted letters and private diaries is that Washington's military strategies, political decisions, and even public speeches were influenced, if not dictated, by his ties to this covert cabal. These men met in secret chambers, often under the cover of night, discussing not only the immediate struggle for independence, but the larger blueprint for a nation that would serve as a global beacon of their ideals and their control. They infused the revolutionary cause with symbolism: the unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye, the eagle clutching arrows and olive branches, each chosen to encode their presence in the nation's iconography, ensuring their influence would remain even after their physical meetings ended. The founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, were more than legal texts. They were manifestos embedded with hidden meanings accessible only to initiates. This layered messaging ensured that the public face of America's birth was one of liberty and democracy, while the inner workings solidified an oligarchy disguised as a republic. Through the manipulation of historical narratives, education systems, and political rhetoric, this secret society has controlled how generations interpret Washington's role and the origins of American freedom. Their manipulation extends beyond history into modern times, into political appointments, judicial decisions, and the financial architecture that governs the country. The reality is that Washington was both a visionary and a prisoner, a man bound by allegiances he could neither fully disclose nor abandon, tasked with executing a plan larger than any single leader's ambition. This is why, despite the numerous biographies, letters, and speeches, crucial evidence of his true role remained hidden, scattered in forgotten archives and private collections, guarded by those sworn to secrecy. Only through recently declassified intelligence and the painstaking work of independent researchers have these fragments begun to coalesce into a revealing picture that challenges everything taught in schools and celebrated in history books. The American Revolution was never just a war against British tyranny. It was the birth of a new order, one controlled by a select few, using Washington as their symbol and instrument. This secret society's influence is a living force, quietly shaping the nation's course, even today, beneath the surface of public consciousness. The key to understanding the true America lies not in the surface stories, but in deciphering the encoded legacy of George Washington, the man they chose to mask their power and the true father of a hidden empire. We are about to enter a labyrinth of secret alliances, coded language, and suppressed truths that will forever change your perception of the Founding Father and the country he helped create. To truly grasp the magnitude of this hidden influence, we must examine the most tangible evidence encoded in America's founding artifacts, its symbols. The Great Seal of the United States, which appears on the $1 bill, is rife with imagery that most Americans have accepted at face value. The bald eagle, the olive branch, the arrows, and the motto, E pluribus unum. But deeper scrutiny reveals a far more intricate story. The unfinished pyramid with 13 steps is not a mere architectural flourish. It is a direct nod to ancient mystery schools and secret initiations. symbolizing an ongoing process of enlightenment and control. At the pyramid's apex sits the Eye of Providence, an all-seeing eye representing surveillance, divine omnipresence, or more ominously, the omnipresence of the secret society itself. This symbol is not unique to American iconography. It is found in ancient Egyptian, Renaissance, and Masonic traditions, each linked to covert knowledge and power structures. This pyramid is incomplete intentionally, signaling that the project, America's true formation, is not finished, that the society's control is continuous, evolving with each generation. The number 13 repeats throughout. 13 steps, 13 stars above the eagle, 13 arrows in the eagle's talon, and 13 leaves on the olive branch. This is no coincidence. 13 was a sacred number for secret societies, representing transformation, rebirth, and initiation rites. The Founding Fathers understood numerology and embedded these meanings deliberately to communicate to those in the know, while the general public remained oblivious. Even the eagle itself, a symbol of freedom, is paradoxically clutching weapons and peace offerings, illustrating the dual nature of this new nation, promising liberty while maintaining control through force and surveillance. These symbols were not mere decoration. They were a cryptic language intended to signal to initiates that the true power behind the Republic was concealed in plain sight. Beyond symbols, the actual drafting of foundational documents involved key members of this secret order. Figures like Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, and Thomas Jefferson, all with known ties to fraternal orders, contributed to texts imbued with layered meanings. Their writings employed classical references and allegories that, to the untrained eye, read as enlightened rhetoric, but to insiders served as coded directives for governance aligned with the society's objectives. The Federalist Papers and the Constitution's Federalist Number 10 argue for controlling factions, revealing a political philosophy designed to manage and manipulate the masses, not liberate them fully. Washington's role as commander-in-chief was not only military but symbolic, legitimizing the society's ambitions under a heroic facade. His Masonic rituals and speeches included veiled references to these secret doctrines, suggesting a personal awareness of the larger scheme. The secrecy surrounding these connections was absolute. Many documents were deliberately destroyed or locked away in archives inaccessible to the public. Others were altered or censored during early Republic periods to ensure no cracks appeared in the official narrative. This systematic erasure was a concerted effort to maintain the illusion of a purely democratic revolution while hiding the oligarchic mechanisms guiding the country's foundation. The engravings on early American currency, seals of secret lodges, and even the architectural design of Washington, D.C. itself, laid out in geometric patterns reflecting Masonic symbolism, are physical testaments to the society's reach. Washington's own diaries, carefully edited for public release, omit references to his more controversial affiliations and decisions that could expose the society's control. Through all these layers, the message is clear. The American Revolution was not just a fight for independence. It was a carefully choreographed event to place power in the hands of a select brotherhood, with George Washington as its most public face and symbolic leader. This truth has been buried for over 200 years, but as we peel back these layers, the very foundation of American history shakes beneath us. The Sacred Society's legacy is not a relic of the past. It is an active force, encoded in every corner of the nation's identity, waiting for those who dare to look deeper. The influence of this secret society on George Washington's personal and political life extends far beyond symbolism and hidden codes. It reaches into his strategic decisions during the Revolutionary War and the formation of the United States government. Washington's military tactics, often celebrated as brilliant and inspired, were reportedly shaped by clandestine directives exchanged within Masonic lodges and secret meetings with society elders. Newly surfaced correspondence between Washington and high-ranking members of European secret orders suggests that many of his campaigns were less spontaneous battles of patriotism and more calculated moves in a chess game orchestrated by this global cabal. These letters, long concealed in private collections and only recently decrypted, reveal instructions on timing, alliances, and political maneuvering designed to ensure a specific outcome favorable to the society's long-term objectives. Washington's unexpected resignations, his strategic retreats, and his decisions during key moments, such as Valley Forge and Yorktown, once thought to be purely based on battlefield necessity, now appear to have layers of intent aimed at preserving the society's control over the new nation's destiny. Moreover, Washington's famous farewell address, traditionally seen as a warning against foreign entanglements and political parties, contains cryptic allusions to the importance of unity under an unseen guiding hand, a plea to maintain the veil of secrecy and cohesion within the ruling elite. His warnings against factionalism and sectionalism were not merely political advice, but a coded message to members and successors of the secret society to keep their dominion intact. When Washington assumed the presidency, his actions further reinforced this hidden agenda. The establishment of the executive branch, the federal judiciary, and the financial institutions that would shape the nation were influenced heavily by members of the society who surrounded him and advised him. The creation of the First National Bank, the introduction of a federal tax system, and the delicate balance between states' rights and federal power all reflected the society's vision of controlled governance rather than true popular sovereignty. Washington's close relationships with figures like Alexander Hamilton, a fellow Freemason and society insider, reveal a concerted effort to consolidate power into the hands of an elite few under the guise of republicanism. Even Washington's role in suppressing uprisings, such as the Whiskey Rebellion, showcased the society's willingness to use force and political suppression to maintain order and prevent threats to their carefully constructed system. These revelations challenge the popular image of Washington as a reluctant leader and instead portray him as an active participant, bound by oaths and secret knowledge, executing a plan devised long before the War for Independence began. His public persona was meticulously crafted to inspire trust and admiration, while concealing his deeper loyalties and the power structures he served. The tension between Washington's role as a unifying figure and his allegiance to a secretive elite is a key to understanding the contradictions in early American history, why ideals of liberty and equality coexisted with the rise of institutional control and exclusion. This complex legacy has been buried beneath layers of myth and patriotism, but through the painstaking analysis of archival documents, coded letters, and corroborating accounts, a new picture emerges. George Washington was not just the father of the nation, but also the father of a hidden order that has quietly influenced America's trajectory ever since. The society he served was less concerned with freedom for all and more intent on shaping a new kind of empire, one ruled by invisible hands and guarded by secrecy. To comprehend the true birth of the United States, we must confront this uncomfortable reality and acknowledge the forces that have shaped the country from its inception, far from the eyes of the public. The story you thought you knew is incomplete. This is the hidden history, the story they hoped would never be told. The mechanics of control exerted by this secret society over the young United States extended beyond politics and warfare into the financial foundations of the nation, areas where their influence remains largely invisible but immensely powerful. Central to this was the establishment of America's first banking systems and monetary policy, which, contrary to popular belief, were not spontaneous developments, but carefully engineered instruments designed to secure economic dominance for the elite few. George Washington's endorsement and facilitation of the creation of the first Bank of the United States under Alexander Hamilton's guidance marked a pivotal moment in embedding this hidden power structure into the fabric of the country. The bank was not merely a financial institution. It was a tool for controlling credit, currency, and economic influence, effectively centralizing power within the society's circle. This control extended to the issuance of currency, which bore cryptic symbols and codes derived from Masonic and esoteric traditions, signaling to initiates that money itself was a representation of their enduring dominion. The dollar bill's iconography is a prime example, where the placement of symbols is no accident, but a deliberate assertion of hidden authority over the economy. More profoundly, the society's manipulation of debt and credit shaped the social and political landscape, binding ordinary citizens to a system of dependence and control under the guise of financial progress and capitalism. The concept of credit as a mechanism of power was not new. It had roots in European banking families and secret societies that used it to shape nations from behind the scenes. Washington and his associates adapted these ancient methods to the American context, ensuring the fledgling republic would be economically tethered to the society's global network. Private correspondences and secret records uncovered in recent years demonstrate the society's strategic placement of allies in key economic roles, including treasury officials, bankers, and financiers. Their goal was clear: to maintain economic leverage not just over the government, but over every American citizen. This economic framework also provided a means to subtly steer the country's political course, as financial control translated into political influence. Decisions regarding war funding, national debt, and economic policy were influenced as much by financial interests tied to the society as by public needs or democratic debate. The secrecy surrounding these financial manipulations was rigorous. Many documents were classified or lost. Others were coded in financial ledgers and correspondence that required deciphering by specialists. This veil of secrecy has shielded the true origins of American financial power from public scrutiny, allowing the narrative of free market capitalism to flourish unchecked. Yet beneath this narrative lies a reality where financial freedom was never the true objective. Instead, economic systems were established as instruments to preserve the secret society's dominance, ensuring that wealth and influence remained concentrated and intergenerational. Understanding Washington's role in this process is critical. He was not only a military and political figure, but also a key architect and symbol of a financial revolution that was, in truth, a consolidation of elite power. The broader implications of this control resonate today as the echoes of those early decisions continue to shape economic inequality, institutional distrust, and political corruption in modern America. The hidden financial architecture laid down by Washington and his secret society partners is a foundation both invisible and unbreakable, perpetuating a cycle of control disguised as freedom and prosperity. The dollar bill in your wallet is more than currency. It is a symbol of a legacy of secrecy, manipulation, and control that began with the Founding Father himself and endures into our present day. This is not conspiracy theory. It is a reality supported by historical evidence and patterns of power that have been obscured but never erased. To grasp the true story of George Washington and America's birth, one must follow the trail of money, symbols, and hidden alliances that reveal a design far more calculated and enduring than any patriotic tale dares to admit. George Washington's personal correspondences, diaries, and private communications offer one of the richest veins of insight into his relationship with the secret society and the nature of his hidden obligations. While publicly portrayed as a transparent leader whose every thought was open to scrutiny, much of Washington's private writings were deliberately censored or altered before release, especially those touching upon his Masonic affiliations and dealings with other secret order members. Recently uncovered manuscripts, preserved in hidden archives and private collections, reveal a different narrative, one where Washington grapples with the burden of secrecy, the conflicts between personal conscience and public duty, and the immense pressure of upholding a covert agenda. These writings expose his awareness of the sacrifices required to maintain the society's influence and the isolation that came with his elevated status within the secret hierarchy. Washington's use of coded language, references to the work and the lodge, and discussions about rituals and oaths signify a deep entrenchment in society's inner workings that extended beyond simple membership. He often hinted at an unseen hand guiding events, acknowledging that the visible battles and debates were but surface distractions from the real struggle for power occurring behind closed doors. Correspondence between Washington and his closest advisors shows careful planning to keep the society's activities concealed from the public, and even from many within the government. Letters discuss the importance of silence and discretion, and the need to protect the plan from exposure. This reveals a coordinated effort to manipulate both friend and foe, maintaining the illusion of democratic processes while channeling outcomes to suit the society's objectives. The toll this secrecy took on Washington is evident in personal notes, expressing frustration, doubt, and moments of profound loneliness. He understood that his legacy would be shaped not by his public achievements alone, but by the success or failure of the society's covert mission. His farewell letters carry veiled warnings about vigilance and the dangers of disunity, implicitly addressing future generations of the society's members to continue the work with unwavering loyalty. The contrast between Washington's public persona, a man of unwavering principle, and his private burden as a gatekeeper of secret knowledge reveals the complexity of his character and the depth of the conspiracy that surrounds him. These newly discovered documents challenge the sanitized versions of history and force us to reconsider what it means to be a founding father. They suggest that Washington's greatness was inseparable from his role as a guardian of a secret legacy, a position that demanded both brilliance and sacrifice. His story is one of duality: public hero and secret keeper, visionary leader and obedient servant to a shadow power. This duality shaped the trajectory of the nation and continues to influence how history is told, what truths are hidden, and what realities are accepted. The documents also hint at a succession plan, indicating that Washington carefully selected and mentored successors within the society, ensuring the continuity of their agenda beyond his lifetime. These successors would maintain the hidden structures of power, adapting to new political challenges while preserving the foundational principles laid down by Washington and his peers. Through this lens, Washington's life becomes a symbol of a broader truth. The founding of America was not only a revolution against tyranny, but also the establishment of a new, concealed order with its own rules, sacrifices, and vision for the future. Understanding this is essential for anyone seeking to uncover the real forces behind American history and the ongoing influence of those who operate from the shadows. The truth locked away in Washington's private papers is a key to unlocking that hidden narrative, one that has been obscured for centuries but is finally coming to light. Beyond Washington's personal ties, the geographical and architectural design of Washington, D.C. serves as a monumental testament to the secret society's imprint on the nation's physical and symbolic landscape. The city's layout is far from random. It was deliberately planned with precision, embedding layers of Masonic and esoteric symbolism that speak to the society's vision of control and enlightenment. Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, the French architect commissioned to design the Capitol, worked closely with Washington and other society members to create a city that functioned as a living symbol of their ideals. The city's streets, circles, and squares form patterns aligned with ancient sacred geometry, pentagrams, triangles, and hexagons used historically by secret orders to denote power and spiritual harmony. Key buildings, the Capitol, the White House, the Washington Monument, are positioned to align with these geometric designs, creating invisible lines of power and influence across the cityscape. This was not simply about aesthetics. It was about encoding authority and sacred order into the very ground the government walked upon. The Washington Monument itself, with its towering obelisk shape, is a direct reference to Egyptian symbolism, representing a phallic power and connection to ancient wisdom and immortality. The Capitol dome incorporates motifs reminiscent of Masonic temples, reinforcing the city's role as a temple of governance under society's unseen guidance. Even the city's street names and numbers carry symbolic weight, echoing historical and mystical numerology that signals the presence of a hidden code to initiates and insiders. These design elements serve a dual purpose. They project the society's power to the world while providing a sacred language of identity and purpose to those within. This architectural secrecy extends to rituals and ceremonies that have taken place within these spaces, many of which are off limits to the public and shrouded in mystery. Initiations, symbolic reenactments, and strategic meetings have been conducted in these carefully chosen locations, connecting the physical city to the society's ongoing work. The very act of governing the nation within this symbolic landscape reinforces the psychological hold the society has over the country's direction. It reminds leaders and members alike of their responsibilities not only to the public, but to the secret order that underpins the Republic. Modern urban planners and historians have long debated the reasons behind Washington's unique layout, often dismissing its symbolic aspects as coincidental or purely decorative. However, recently uncovered correspondences and blueprint annotations from L'Enfant's original plans reveal explicit references to Masonic concepts and esoteric knowledge, confirming deliberate design choices. The city's sacred geometry is a silent yet powerful message. Power flows through these streets, governed by hidden forces who control not just policy, but the very environment in which that policy is made. This knowledge is carefully guarded, with access to certain archives and areas restricted to society members and trusted officials. The layers of secrecy enveloping Washington, D.C. mirror the layered secrecy that surrounds George Washington himself, a city and a man built as a living symbol of concealed control and orchestrated destiny. Understanding this is crucial to decoding the broader narrative of American governance. It reveals that power is not just exercised through legislation or elections, but through symbolic architecture designed to shape minds, behaviors, and perceptions on a subconscious level. The capital city stands as a monumental cryptogram, a physical manifestation of the secret society's enduring influence, a beacon of hidden order beneath the surface of public life. The true meaning of Washington, D.C. is encrypted in stone, street, and skyline, waiting for those who know how to read its silent language. The web of influence, spun by this secret society, reached deep into the highest levels of government, well beyond George Washington's era, weaving a legacy of control that extends unbroken into modern times. While Washington laid the groundwork, the society's power was institutionalized through the careful placement of loyal members and successors in pivotal political, judicial, and military roles. The earliest presidents following Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, were not only political figures but also individuals deeply intertwined with Masonic and other secret orders, sworn to uphold the society's covert mission. This continuity ensured that the official narrative of American democracy remained carefully managed, with any threats to the society's agenda neutralized or redirected. The Supreme Court, Congress, and the executive branch functioned as instruments within a larger framework designed to maintain equilibrium between public appearances of liberty and the actual control exerted behind closed doors. Secret society influence often operated through back-channel communications, discreet meetings, and symbolic gestures understood only by initiates. These interactions shaped policy decisions, war declarations, and economic reforms in ways that prioritized the society's longevity over popular will. The society's reach was not limited to domestic governance. It extended internationally through alliances with European secret orders and global financial institutions, positioning America as both a leader and a controlled entity within a larger power structure. Leaked memos and whistleblower testimonies over the last century have hinted at this persistent influence, though mainstream discourse remains dismissive or oblivious. The society's modus operandi includes fostering division and conflict where necessary, political polarization, economic crises, and social unrest, all carefully calibrated to distract the masses from the true centers of power. At the same time, they cultivate symbols and narratives that sustain patriotism and belief in democratic ideals, creating a paradox where citizens feel empowered yet remain under subtle manipulation. Washington's legacy, therefore, is not confined to his lifetime, but lives on as a blueprint for covert governance, a silent architecture of influence that adapts with each generation's challenges. This hidden lineage explains how, despite revolutionary ideals, systemic inequalities and power imbalances persist, maintained by the invisible hands Washington once symbolized. To uncover the truth is to understand that American democracy, while unique in its form, is also a carefully constructed performance. One where the script is written and directed by those who have controlled the stage since the nation's inception. The real revolution was never about overthrowing power, but about transferring it into a new, more secretive vessel. This knowledge is essential not only for historical clarity, but for those who seek to reclaim true agency in shaping America's future. The question remains, how much longer will this hidden order continue to govern from the shadows? And what will it take for the veil to be lifted once and for all? The legacy of George Washington, when viewed through this secret prism, challenges us to rethink everything we thought we knew about freedom, leadership, and power in America. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence pointing to the secret society's long-lasting grip on American power lies in the mysterious disappearance and subsequent silence surrounding many of George Washington's private papers and artifacts. After his death, an unusually large portion of Washington's documents vanished without explanation, while others were locked away in private collections, inaccessible even to scholars. This wasn't random loss or careless mismanagement. It was a calculated operation to control the narrative of his legacy. Investigations into estate inventories and archival records reveal suspicious gaps and redactions in Washington's correspondence, particularly those referencing his Masonic activities and communications with other secret order members. Historians who attempted to probe these areas faced bureaucratic roadblocks and missing records, fueling speculation that a coordinated effort was made to suppress sensitive information. Some letters, diaries, and orders that could have exposed the society's influence were systematically destroyed or altered before publication, ensuring that public knowledge remained sanitized and controlled. More startling are accounts from descendants and private collectors who claim to have witnessed secret rituals and uncovered documents that contradict the official versions of Washington's life. While these testimonies are often dismissed, their consistency and specificity point to a deliberate effort to protect the society's secrets at all costs. The shadow cast by these missing archives has allowed myths and sanitized stories to flourish unchallenged, keeping the true depth of Washington's involvement hidden from public scrutiny. Modern forensic techniques applied to surviving documents, such as ink analysis, paper dating, and handwriting verification, have uncovered forgeries and alterations, revealing a historical cover-up extending well into the 19th century. This systematic suppression of truth was not limited to Washington's lifetime, but has persisted through successive generations, maintained by the society's enduring influence over academic, political, and cultural institutions. Understanding this erasure is crucial to grasping why so many aspects of Washington's true role remain elusive, despite centuries of research and scholarship. It also highlights the power structures still at play that resist transparency and accountability. The disappearance of these records serves as a stark reminder. History is not just what is recorded, but also what is deliberately hidden. The most vital chapters of America's founding story may lie in the shadows cast by these missing pages, pages that could reveal a vastly different portrait of the man hailed as the nation's greatest hero. The struggle to reclaim and expose these lost truths continues, but it is a battle against forces that have guarded their secrets with ruthless determination. The silence around Washington's missing documents is itself a message. The full story has yet to be told, and those who control the narrative will stop at nothing to keep it that way. Washington's legacy, enshrined in statues, monuments, and the national consciousness, serves a dual function: to inspire patriotism and to obscure the deeper truths about the foundations of American power. The cult of personality built around him was no accident, but a deliberate construction by the secret society to create a symbol around which the nation could rally, while simultaneously masking the realities of control and manipulation. This hero worship ensured that questions about the true origins of the Republic and the extent of secret influence were deflected or dismissed as unpatriotic conspiracy theories. Public ceremonies, holidays, and educational curricula reinforced the sanitized image of Washington as the perfect leader, virtuous, selfless, and above reproach, effectively insulating the secret society's involvement from scrutiny. Even the architecture of his tomb at Mount Vernon carries symbolic elements aligned with Masonic and esoteric traditions, turning his final resting place into a shrine for the society's ideals and a perpetual reminder of their enduring legacy. This phenomenon is not unique to Washington. It is a hallmark of secret societies to create icons that embody their values, ensuring the longevity of their influence through cultural mythology. The mythic Washington became a repository for American ideals, while the man himself and the web of secret loyalties he maintained faded into obscurity. This dichotomy has served the society well, allowing them to shape historical narratives and political discourse through a controlled and revered figurehead. The continued veneration of Washington acts as a psychological anchor, fostering unity and national identity, but also perpetuating ignorance of the true power structures beneath the surface. For the average citizen, this means their understanding of history, governance, and democracy is filtered through layers of deliberate obfuscation. The hero's story simplifies complex realities into digestible narratives that discourage critical inquiry and maintain social order. This mechanism of symbolic control extends into modern media and political rhetoric, where references to Washington's wisdom and vision are invoked to legitimize policies and leaders who, in reality, serve the same hidden interests Washington once represented. Recognizing the construction and purpose of this myth is essential for unraveling the broader conspiracy. It reveals how power is maintained not only through direct control, but also through shaping collective memory and identity. The secret society's mastery of symbolism, narrative, and public ritual has allowed them to embed their influence deeply within the American psyche, creating a legacy that transcends generations and resists exposure. To confront this legacy is to challenge not just historical accounts, but the very foundation of national identity. The question then becomes, can a nation built on such carefully crafted myths ever truly know itself? Or is it doomed to live within the shadows of the stories it has been told? Washington's legacy, therefore, is both a beacon and a barrier, a symbol of aspiration and a mask for hidden control. Understanding this duality is key to unlocking the secrets that have shaped America from its inception to the present day. In the shadows of history, whispers persist about Washington's direct involvement with extraterrestrial knowledge and advanced technologies far beyond his era. Elements that the Sacred Society allegedly guarded fiercely. These whispers are supported by fragmented accounts in private letters and coded documents that reference heavenly messengers, unseen guides, and technologies hidden in plain sight. Some historians and independent researchers argue that Washington and his closest associates may have been privy to knowledge obtained through contact with non-human intelligence, a concept deliberately suppressed to maintain public ignorance and control. Reports from early American frontier settlements describe strange phenomena: unexplainable lights in the sky, inexplicable technological artifacts, and encounters with mysterious figures offering guidance to the revolutionaries. These accounts, long dismissed as folklore or exaggeration, gain new significance when examined alongside sacred society rituals that emphasize communion with higher knowledge and otherworldly wisdom. The society's rituals, symbols, and architecture are replete with references to celestial bodies, cosmic cycles, and universal laws, suggesting a belief system that integrates extraterrestrial influence into their worldview. Washington's documented fascination with astronomy and geometry may be more than academic interest. Some speculate it was part of a broader effort to understand and apply this advanced knowledge for political and strategic advantage. The suppression of these ideas in mainstream history serves to maintain the narrative of human exceptionalism and rational governance, preventing disruptive questions about the origins of power and knowledge in the New World. Moreover, the Society's alleged possession of suppressed technologies, such as early experiments with energy sources, communications devices, and weaponry, raises questions about how much was hidden from the public to preserve the Society's monopoly on power. Washington's diaries and notes, encrypted with symbolic language, hint at breakthroughs that could have altered the course of history had they been revealed. The persistent mystery surrounding Washington's death and the swift closure of investigations into his health also fuel speculation about the lengths the Society would go to protect these secrets. This intersection of history, myth, and hidden knowledge adds a layer of complexity to Washington's legacy that challenges conventional interpretations. It suggests that America's founding was not only a political revolution, but also a gateway to a hidden cosmic order, carefully concealed from public view. To uncover these truths is to confront powerful forces that have shaped not only the nation, but potentially the destiny of humanity itself. The secret society's guardianship of this knowledge has ensured that the story of Washington and America remains incomplete, a tapestry woven with threads of truth and deliberate omission. Understanding this hidden dimension is essential to fully grasping the enigmatic legacy of George Washington and the secret society that controlled his legacy, and by extension, the fate of the nation. The veil is lifting, and with it, the promise of revelations that will redefine history and challenge everything we believe about power, knowledge, and the cosmos. As we approach the present day, the shadow of the secret society that shaped George Washington's legacy remains undeniable, subtly steering the course of American politics, economics, and culture. The society's descendants, modern-day elite networks embedded within government agencies, multinational corporations, financial institutions, and influential think tanks, continue to wield power with the same strategic precision and secrecy their forebears employed. Their methods have evolved with technology and society, using sophisticated surveillance, media control, and psychological operations to maintain public compliance, while fostering division and distraction. The foundational symbols Washington helped embed in the nation's DNA, the pyramid, the eye, the eagle, have become omnipresent in currency, architecture, and popular culture, reinforcing a subconscious allegiance to this hidden order. Revelations about clandestine meetings, secret task forces, and undisclosed government programs echo the Society's historic modus operandi. controlling the narrative from behind the scenes, shaping policy to serve entrenched interests rather than the public good. The continued suppression of whistleblowers and the manipulation of information channels testify to an enduring commitment to secrecy. This ongoing control is not merely about power for its own sake, but about maintaining a vision, however flawed or self-serving, of order and continuity established centuries ago. The society's influence shapes the balance between democracy and oligarchy, freedom and control, transparency and deception. Understanding Washington's true legacy is critical to recognizing these dynamics today. It empowers citizens to question narratives, demand accountability, and seek truth beyond official stories. The hidden history of the secret society invites us to re-examine our beliefs about leadership, governance, and the nature of power in America. It challenges us to look beyond surface symbols and heroic myths to uncover the real forces that have shaped and continue to shape the nation. This knowledge is both a warning and a call to action, to pierce the veil of secrecy and reclaim the ideals of liberty and justice that were manipulated at the nation's founding. George Washington's legacy, once a carefully guarded secret, now stands exposed as a gateway to understanding the complex web of power that controls America. The path ahead demands courage, critical inquiry, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Only then can the nation truly honor its founding ideals and move beyond the shadows cast by its secret past. We have peeled back the layers. Now the choice is yours. Will you see the truth and act, or remain bound by the myths they have crafted for centuries? The story has only just begun, and the future depends on what we do with the knowledge we have uncovered.